It's Tuesday again.
It's Tuesday. Good morning, David Gruen.
Hey, good morning, Mark Hoffman.
Good morning, Two Rivers Church. How we doing today?
Good.
Hey, you went long sleeve today. It's springtime. Where's the spring collection?
It's not broke out yet because it went back to 50-some degrees this morning. So
well, there you go. I guess this is really live.
it's rainy. It's the rainy day.
It's the rainy day.
Hey, what's this whole pile in between us all
We're going
about?
to get to that. No, we're going to keep that.
Really?
You know, you like props. So I want people to be looking at us going,
I do like props.
what's that
Or as you
table of
would call them,
bags? So we're
gimmicks.
going to get to that in a little bit. We're going to keep people's anticipation, like
There you
maybe
go.
even their interest. Maybe people won't get on and get off really quick today.
Okay.
But before we get to some of the fun stuff,
Yeah.
not that this isn't fun, we've been having a lot of conversations lately about church and the future of church and when and how do we return to campuses and what that looks like and what that would look like even for, you know, we have two campuses that we literally own, but one we're actually borrowing. So Bearden's a question, what does that look like? And all those things are out there. But like we are working hard. There's people actually meeting periodically throughout each week trying to figure out what and when that would look like. And so we're projecting. Here's our big word for the day. Like, I know they have word with the pastors. Here's word with Mark and Dave. Projecting.
Yeah.
We are projecting a return eventually back to campus. And so we're looking at them on month-by-month basis. So this is the month of May, and so we're in it.
Month of May.
But we're projecting in June, July, and August we'll be where? You want to answer that question?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so month of May, we have already started encouraging people as they feel comfortable to get together in groups. But for the month of June, we're going to encourage people to actually gather together in groups. And that'll be the first phase for us. Actually, I guess we could say we're already in phase one. Phase two is encouraging people to gather together in groups as our return. That's our initial return. And then the first weekend in July.
So what's different than what people are doing right now? Because they are gathering in groups. So what are you saying?
I think it's like our thing right now has been as you feel comfortable, less than 10 people.
Yeah.
I think in June, really what we're asking people to do is gather in homes, maybe for worship, have your group gather together
a watch
on the
party?
weekend, have a watch party. As opposed to gathering together for worship on campus, gather together for worship in the community, in your home. Maybe there's another space. So that's June. As we continue to walk through this phased reopening in our communities. And then from there, for July, it looks like returning to campuses. And each campus is got its own scenario with Harrison Lane and Roane County. The similar. Bearden has some more question marks around it and what all that's going to mean. And we'll reduce maybe capacity in July, no kids ministry, no student ministries, that kind of thing. But it will be family worship, and we'll continue online. And so we'll continue to offer an online experience very similar to what we're offering now. And we will offer live services. And then in August, if everything continues and
Projection.
the beginning of August, we would return to maybe services here, kids programming restarts, that kind of thing. And as we would launch into August, things returning a little bit more to a normal kind of scenario. Although, once again, that's a projection. That's what we think
But
at
not
this
a
moment.
projection. We're hoping to get some of that information out on our website, on our
Yes.
on our information, our communication strategy, platforms, all that within the next several days.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, by this weekend, we'll have all that up on our website so people can see, hey, this is our plan, this is what it's going to look like. Monitoring both what's going on in the community, doing the best you can to follow the guidance that's all over the map that's out there, and trying to keep people healthy. And also keeping in mind, we may move from stage 3 to stage 4, but having this system in place will allow us maybe to go back and say, hey, rather than just going straight back to whole lockdown, we're going back to phase 3 or phase 2. Yeah.
As we figured out.
Yeah, it's all theory.
Hey, I'm gonna manage the conversation today. We're still not
Okay.
getting to the table between us. We'll get there in a second.
Okay.
But last weekend you spoke, and I just want to ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
I didn't prep you for any of this, so hope your wife's
See
at
the
home going,
sweat.
"Oh, I hope he does
See
okay."
the sweat starting to build.
So, you know, I like being with you, and I like being with the handful of people we've been with, but dadgum, it's really hard not being with the hundreds and hundreds of people that call Two Rivers their home.
It
And
is.
we miss people like crazy, and it's really hard speaking into a camera, especially when you're given the word, right? I mean, because it's an opportunity for us to teach and preach and actually study the word together and in community, and we're doing that. Thank God for video, but it is a little awkward. Would you say that?
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. That's good. Thanks for owning that. So
terrible.
here's a couple things. I think as Larry Osborne used to talk about the cutting room floor. So this might not be the cutting room floor after the weekend. We've talked about like maybe services and what we've covered in a talk or a message over a weekend. But so last weekend I had a question.
Okay.
And you actually texted me because I sat there and listened to you actually do it online. I mean, you did it on the video, and then I was watching and I thought, I missed the connection in the beginning. Like, it's sad that people do think we look alike, and I get it too. It is true. It wasn't just an illustration.
Not me,
I've had people come up to me and go, "That was a great message," and it wasn't me at all. So I was like, "Well, good for Dave."
Yeah.
But I didn't get the connection from that illustration to where we went. So here's your chance to fill in the loop.
I like how you said you didn't get the connection when I outed myself and said I didn't tie in the illustration. So the illustration was supposed to be tied back in at the end, where it says that we only know people as well as we invest in the relationship. And so when Jesus is talking about my sheep hear my voice, we only know people to the extent that how well we know them. And I actually had a second illustration that I didn't even touch, which was that when I call my wife's phone, if one of my daughters answers,
You got to be careful.
you got to be really careful. You got to be really careful because one of my daughters in particular sounds just like my wife on the phone. And
Hey, baby.
That's right.
What's you
So
doing?
we got to be. Yeah, I learned that. So the question, just with my wife in general, the first question I ask is, "Hey, are we on speakerphone?" So you never know. You never know where she is and who's around. But all that to say, sometimes when you're speaking into the camera, you like lose it, and it was
I've lost
interesting to hear other people say, like, you walk away from speaking to the camera and you go, I just felt like I said nothing. Like, how did I? And it kind of reminds you how much you're paying attention to the cues that people are unintentionally even giving you.
Even nodding or
nodding, smiling, frowning,
falling asleep, whatever.
Yeah, eyes closed, checking out, dead asleep, whatever it may be. That was what I was supposed to tie it in, and I ended up not tying in that illustration. So it just ended up being some random story at the beginning.
But there's an oddity about preaching on a day or two before the weekend, and then sitting with your family and watching yourself preach. Like that's a little weird, isn't it? Like
it's
having
really
your
weird.
family in the room or on the property or one of the campuses, whatever, is one thing. But like you're sitting in your living room watching yourself speak. How's that going for you?
It's really hard. So I agree. Like they can be in the room, no problem, right? That's easy. That's never a thing. But to be sitting in the room watching with them,
Watching you watch you.
yeah. So it's weird. It's so like I like retreat. And
Yeah, but you're out there listening.
yeah,
You're
like,
mowing your lawn, but you can hear it.
well, yeah, I did that for a couple weeks. I
Yeah.
didn't do that this week, but I was like, I like sneak over to the kitchen counter, you know, like I don't want to be around that. And it's just fear going like, I know what I said, and what if they think it's all crazy? So
And there's some things you just can't get back. You hear it like a couple weeks ago, I was giving the definition of prophetic, and I said it wrong.
yeah,
It was wrong. Like,
Yeah.
there's two sides of being prophetic. There's the foreseeing and then the forthtelling. And I thought I said forthtelling. I never said forthtelling.
Yeah.
I said it both ways. Like that was both sides of the coin
Yeah.
and moved on. And
So you said foretell, which
And
is
not-
the same as foresee, right?
Yeah.
Instead of forthtell.
forthtell, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like can't get it back. Just out there
It's
and
out there.
on. Yeah.
And you're rolling in the moment. And it's one thing like you do it on a weekend, and then you always have a chance to correct yourself because
Yeah.
the next time's coming, right?
There's another service. Yeah.
It's coming. You can go, oh, I let that slip out. I made a mistake. That happens more frequently for me than I care to admit. But
Hey, we're
Yeah.
almost like 8 or 9 minutes in. I want to set the stage for what's here. It was probably 5 years ago when a friend of ours came over to our house and he brought us homemade bread.
Okay.
And I was intrigued by it. And I said, how did you make this? It's Bruce Wagner. And he came over. He used to work at, he's a scientist, right?
He is a scientist.
So he came over to show me how to
He bakes in milliliters.
I know. He came over and there was like
makes him a
weights and scales
scientist.
and all this stuff. But then he showed me a book of how you can actually, like, it's not that complicated. So anyway, Bruce Wagner taught me to make bread. So I used to just crank out the bread. And then periodically someone would say, hey, would you show me how to make bread? So I feel like I'm a second, third generation of bread makers. Like I taught my brothers how to make it. My one brother in New Jersey, he owns it now. They call it pop-pop bread, like it's his thing. So anyway, there's this bread, and it smells incredible. And I just got to tell you, living in the South, it's the closest thing to northern bread you can get. It's like that crispy, crusty outer layer with that dense, soft internal bread. It's amazing. You can't get bread like this typically down south.
Yeah.
So I started making this bread and cranking it out, and there's a few people that who make it now. And your daughter I think she was making it before we went into COVID, wasn't it?
Well, she started with the English muffins that Bruce also makes, and then reached out. It was in COVID that she reached out to Bruce, and it's like, hey, the extra time on her hand. And she grew up watching cooking shows, and so now she's actually getting to use all the stuff that she watched on cooking shows. She's actually putting it into practice, and so started making English muffins, and then we're like, oh, you should switch to bread. And so she did, and she's been turning it out. And then a couple weeks ago, you kind of threw it out there, like, hey, if you want bread, ask Claire, because the Groons are handing out bread to everybody, which we weren't. But
you've gone back to Costco twice and gotten 50-pound bags of bread flour.
Once. We borrowed some of yours.
I know.
We went to your house, and then
but you're at least at 75 pounds of bread flour.
Yeah, we only
That's a
bought
lot of
one.
bread.
Yeah, it's a lot of bread. So she's about 50 pounds of bread in, but she's definitely landed on the bread instead of the English muffins. Much to my wife's
It's a lot
chagrin.
easier.
Yeah,
a lot less complicated from what I hear.
Yeah. So what we would like to do
you
today?
brought 4 loaves. I brought 4 loaves.
Yeah.
Claire and Kelly made your 4.
Claire and Kelly. Yep.
I made my 4.
Yes.
No help at home. And I have some longer ones, some big ones.
Yes.
I want to compete. I know you got
The
nice
full
tags.
loaf.
The Groons have nice tags on theirs, but I have a couple big loaves.
He's got the full
There's
loaf.
the round loaves and the big loaves. And so what are we doing with 8 loaves of bread today, Dave Groon?
We're giving them away. So if you're actually watching today
And not at the church currently.
not at the church currently, and you would like bread, here's what you got to do in the comments. You need to write, bake that bread. Bake that bread.
Bake that bread.
Bake that bread in the comments, and then we don't have a delivery service, so you have to swing by and pick it up. So if you'd like to swing by and pick up some bread, right, bake that bread, and the first 8 people to respond can come by and pick up a loaf of bread. Now, one of the things that I've discovered, like major partnerships in Europe, and I've been in and out of there quite a bit, and you'd always be like, oh, the bread is just better there than it is here. And so you come home like, why can't we have bread? And then you make your own, and you're like, it tastes like Europe.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, why?
It tastes like Jersey.
Yeah, it tastes like it doesn't have preservatives
Jersey,
in it.
Europe, same thing, man.
Same thing. It just tastes like fresh, but it only lasts for a day.
Yeah.
You know, like
There's no preservatives in this.
Yeah, no preservatives, and so you have to like take it home and freeze it, or you got to eat it. These are your 2 options. It does make the most incredible toast you've ever had. But it was a reminder then, as I go back and you think about daily bread, and not everything ties back to the Bible, but it's like, well, what's the whole thing with daily bread? Well, you make bread every day. Why? Because bread has to be made every day if it doesn't have preservatives in it, and so it's kind of just a
So what's
reminder.
the verse? Man cannot live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God, right?
That's right.
I'm not trying to be anti-scriptural, but I think I can live on bread alone.
I know,
I love the
right?
Word of God. Love.
There's a reason that historically this is
I
the
love bread.
staple.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And there's only 3 ingredients in it. It's crazy. It's crazy good.
But we put
3
butter on our
ingredients.
bread like icing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even salt that.
On top of that. Anyway, so we thought what we would do, there's some stuff that we've talked about along the way, and one of them is bread. And so I'll remind you, it's bake that bread, right?
Bake
that
that
bread. Put that
Has
in your
anybody even
comments,
asked for it yet?
and you can have it. So not yet, but we'll see if anybody actually says that. So
Okay.
there we go. Bake that bread. The first one. They're coming in. Here we go. Some people
Wow.
are going to swing by here, and they're going to come pick up bread, so they can count. All right. that was a little incentive to join us on a Tuesday morning when it seems like we end up talking about the same things.
I'm not a breakfast eater,
over and
but this
over again.
smells incredible.
It does smell like.
Oh my goodness. If I could roll a toaster.
I wonder why my saliva.
I know, I could roll a
like
toaster in here, I'm telling you.
All right, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. So what else you got for us, Mark Hoffman?
Well, I'm through my list. What do you got?
You got a list. Hey, as you you've been talking about wedding planning.
Oh yeah,
and
we're still rolling.
This is rolling. So
I got to tell you, let me say this. It feels weird to be in this projected return to community and putting down thousands of dollars on an event where people will be. It feels, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like in one way the world's going in this direction, and somehow we're believing that doesn't exist, and we're planning for an event
you're
that...
betting on another game, man. Let's go in this way.
I made this statement, though. I think I might have said this last week, but no matter what, on that day, if there's 10 of us in the venue, it's happening.
Yeah.
The postponement's not taking place.
Yeah. So I think, we had, like, it was interesting too, like when in the midst of everything changing, Knox County schools came out initially and they said, hey, we're gonna do graduation in August and students can come, but their parents can't come. And once they received their diploma, they walk across the stage. They were gonna leave. So anybody whose name ended with a W or a Z, they were gonna be there by themselves and get their D unlocked. And then all that changed, and now they're gonna do it in June, and parents can come, and it changes all that. But so this past weekend, we wanted to honor our graduates,
Yeah.
and so we, you know, it's just really hard to do anything. But on the backside of the message, we knew it would have been really great to make an announcement to everybody that, hey, our student ministries are out and about today.
But it was supposed to be a surprise.
Right.
Yeah.
So we didn't tell them, but
No.
now we can tell them. Our student ministries were out and about. And what
They
were
went
they
to,
doing?
I think, 17 different homes, which, awesome.
Yeah. And did what?
Beeped their horn, gave congratulations. Think they got a gift.
Gave a gift.
Celebrated them. Yeah. I think they went Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday over all of last weekend. Borrowed the Jeep, put the top down. I think they were out there flying around. Yeah. It was a beautiful day.
Very nice. So here's the question. How many times have you been to Cinco Amigos? Have you been there yet?
You know, yeah, early on we did, but we called the other day, and either they're booked or not answering the phone. I don't know. I got to do a drive-by. Are they open?
That's right.
I'm not going to mention this other place. I was really disappointed. I went for Chinese the other night to a place that we've really I thought we fell in love with. It was horrible. Got it home. There was things missing. I'm like, if you're going to do takeout, I don't know, I'm getting negative, aren't I?
No.
Just saying. If you're going to do takeout, make sure everything's in the bag. Yeah,
Make sure it's there. Make sure it's ready to go.
So, got to find a new Chinese restaurant. So if you can give us some hints, that'd be great.
So I'm going to let Jennifer determine who the first 8 people are. I guess more than 8 people responded.
But they all can't be from the same family, right?
Yeah, you know, one person per family. Jennifer's going to determine who they are, and you can pick the bread up right now at Two Rivers Church throughout today. If you don't pick it up today, it's not going to be great
And if
tomorrow.
you get here while we're still online, you can come on in and grab it.
Yeah, if you get here in the next 10 minutes.
Make sure you're masked up, though. Put your handkerchief on.
Get here in the next 10 minutes.
We can't contaminate
well,
this.
Well, they'll keep 6 feet of difference, and what we'll do is we'll just chuck them a loaf, and they can go. You can get a loaf
That'd be
and
awesome.
run. So, yeah, if you can make it here this morning, they'll be at the front desk. You can pop in and pick up your loaf of bread.
So, you know, since we're just...
And it's because we miss you guys.
I mean, since we're just shooting the breeze, like, you know, let's pick on Bruce Wagner for a little bit.
All right, I'm all about that.
I mean, I think he was doing this before he was retired, but, like, he makes amazing stuff. Like, he makes, like, we got these, what were they, pecans?
Oh, yeah, like the praline pecan things.
Like, covered in sugar.
He makes his own bacon.
Yeah, he makes his own bacon. How do you make your own bacon? Do you have a pig in the backyard?
Well, here's the thing. There's this thing called Google, and he uses it. He uses Google, and then he literally, if you get the recipe, my daughter was making the English muffins, and she got the recipe, and it's talking like milliliters and grams, and she's having to use a scale, and she's like, I
got
feel
no
like
time
this
for
is a
that.
science project.
Yeah.
I'm like, because he's a chemist, and so it's all about that. So, hey, the question is, will you share the bread recipe?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's water, bread flour, and a little bit of yeast.
Yeah, touch of salt.
Oh, salt. Yeah, a little bit of salt.
A little bit of salt.
Yeah,
So-
I can show you how to make it.
Yeah, we could actually have that come up in the comments when we get down. I mean, it's like 3 cups of flour and
But you got to go on Amazon Prime, and there's was it 2 quart? 2 quart?
2 quart.
It's like a 2 quart Lodge cast iron. I think they call it a Dutch oven or a
Dutch oven. You
That's
have
what
to have
it's
a
called?
Dutch oven. Yeah.
I don't know why it's called a Dutch oven, but anyway, yeah.
Somebody can do research.
Yeah.
Google.
So if you buy 2 of them, you can make 2 loaves at a time. I mean, it's a little quicker.
It is. It's much quicker.
Did you get your second one yet?
Yes. It came in yesterday, so there it is.
It's so much faster. I mean, it only takes like 30 minutes. Well, actually, it takes
It
an
takes
evening and
24
a day
hours.
to actually rise.
Yeah.
But then the baking piece is 30 minutes, and then lid off, 5 minutes, spray it with some water, brown it up, put it in a brown bag, give it away.
Give it away.
But then if everybody's making it, what's special about the gift anymore?
Yeah, you know, that is true.
And
And you can't, but you can spice it up too. So if you take the bread and then you, and that second proofing, and you put cinnamon and sugar in it,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
roll it up, wow. Then we don't hand that one out.
Well,
That one doesn't go to other
So
people.
it's odd to me because I didn't think we lived in a world where people really cooked and baked anymore. I mean, some people do, but it's rare. But like early on, when we went to like Ingles or wherever to get bread or yeast or whatever, like gone. Like did everybody just decide like we're going to be hunkered down in our bunkers? Like we're getting flour now. Like people that
Right.
never made bread went and bought bread flour. Like for the bread makers, there's no bread flour out there.
It doesn't exist. So the big thing I think is, so Costco is the best deal. And they didn't sponsor this show, but when you can get 50 pounds of bread flour for the same price as 10 pounds at any other
It's
grocery
amazing.
store, it's amazing. So it was overwhelming. So Claire was like, hey, Dad, we can't get that 50-pound bag because that's overwhelming. What am I going to do with that? I'm like, well, we'll subdivide it out. She's like, I just can't. That's overwhelming. So when she came over and borrowed it, got like half of yours, then she's like, oh, okay, I can get my mind around that. So that's why we went there and bought this huge. And I'm like, at that price, people are going to think I'm a terrible person. You can buy the whole bag and we can dump half of it, and we're still saving money. So it's amazing.
But you're not dumping half of it.
No, it keeps.
Yeah, it
We
keeps.
have a storage place, and it lasts for a really long time.
Hey, you go on vacation this summer?
You know, my plans are all still up in the air. My daughter's going back to school for their 3rd summer period, she thinks now, and so that's all been.
When will that be? Projected.
Great question. Projected. I think it's in July. So our vacation, we were originally going to go on vacation to Colorado at the beginning of June. She was going to be in summer school out there, but that all got changed. And so it's likely in June. Maybe we'll go for a little bit between when her classes end and when she has to go back. She'll be in like a little period. How about you?
Well, I don't know
Still
what
on
to do.
track?
Like all of a sudden, like, we booked a place last year, like in November, December last year, and it's for July. What if we're back at church in July? I'm on vacation? That seems weird, but
That seems weird.
I don't know what to do, but like I don't think we can get our money back.
But it's not like you've stopped working.
Yeah.
It's not like that's stopped. It's like, okay. But, and wondering if all that stuff is open at the beach. Our neighbors just went to the beach. They're waiting, like, to hear, like, is the Airbnb, or whatever they have, is it going to be open? Is it going to be open? And then just a couple days ago, they're like, hey, it's open. So their dog is at our house, and they went to the beach today. So
Wow.
I hear the beaches, so that might be a great option for you. And they're
Maybe.
going to the same beach-ish where you would go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, you said your daughter may be going back. My daughter is living with us, and I said before, I do mean this. It's been a delight, and I thought it was like going to be. I thought she was like going to stay till, she moved in March, April, May. I thought maybe June. She's going back to class. Her classes start back up. She's in her master's program for counseling. Her classes are starting back up, but they're starting up online again. Perhaps not on campus, so she can go to school online in our guest room. So her and her dog, it looks like, are just staying. Like, we thought it was a couple months, but she's
Turns
here.
out your guest room became her room.
Oh, yeah,
She's
and Hazel's room, the dog, that sheds. And when the dog left the last time, we had it professionally cleaned, so there's little black hair all over our entire house, which...
But she's so sweet.
She's so sweet.
She's so
a
sweet.
sweet dog. Yeah, so it looks like Emily's with us for the duration. So maybe she leaves our house and goes to her wedding and goes to her own house. So... September, maybe.
September. Well, here's the question. So the last weekend of September, there's a wedding that's supposed to happen. If we're on COVID resurgence and lockdown, do you have a backup plan? Do you have plan B? Do you have
I think right here.
Do you have a shutdown plan?
She doesn't know this, but I mean, well, the venue's paid for. I don't know if you can get out of that. So if they'll let 10 of us in the venue, we're doing that. Or we're right here on Facebook Live.
Have you thought about doing it? Facebook Live? Facebook Live? Has she talked about
yeah,
that? Does
it's
she
not
do
a thing for
Facebook
her.
Live? Not
Yeah.
so much.
And you know what? Maybe we shouldn't go here, but a lot of people just aren't getting married in churches anymore. When's the last church wedding we've had here?
It's been
Do you
a while.
remember? I mean, even
No,
pre-COVID.
I mean, yeah. I
They're
mean,
not that
I remember
frequent.
like there was one, but I can't tell you what it was. But it definitely seems to be getting.
Like it's destination and venues and barns and all kinds of things that are. It's a whole. I'm learning a whole.
There's more options.
Yeah. Oh, by the way.
we didn't have options.
I got some grief last week because I said my daughter isn't a dress girl. But she's never. We went for.
You said your daughter was going to get married in a
in a
pantsuit.
pantsuit. Somebody told me, you just called her Hillary Clinton. I did not call my daughter Hillary Clinton. I just said she's never worn a gown. Like she didn't go to prom, so it wasn't a thing. Like when they talked to her, hey, what kind of dress do you want? She goes, I don't know. I've never thought of that. But
Yeah.
I got the call last Tuesday night. They were at a bridal place, and she said, I found two.
Found two.
Would you come be the deal breaker? I think it was a setup. They already had the one they wanted.
already knew.
So.
And they knew that you had the money.
Oh, yeah.
And so they said, hey, Dad, would you come?
That was sweet. It was really
That's
sweet.
awesome.
Really
So
cool.
she has a dress.
She has
got
a
a
dress.
venue. She has a dress.
Yeah, we got a DJ, we got a caterer. We're ready to
Wow.
roll.
And-
We just
okay.
need more than 10 people.
Yeah. So I know that people are like wedding, but this is something that's interesting. Part of the deal for you as you're throwing this wedding, right? It's a big party, and part of the deal was you had already settled on the caterer.
Oh, yeah.
And so the biggest deal for the venue is
It has to be somewhere near Chattanooga because this caterer was phenomenal. Like, I've never had food. I mean, you went to
it's
Meg's
true.
wedding.
It's true.
It was amazing. Like, usually you get the chirpy chicken and the cold green beans and, maybe it's some kind of a starch. But, like, that food just kept coming. At least to me, it was really good.
Yeah, that is true.
So, yeah.
So Bruce Wagner's promoting the homemade yogurt in the Instapot. So I haven't
that's
tried
a whole
that
new
yet.
level. Dude, we're like a year behind you, Bruce.
I
Slow
haven't
it down.
tried that yet. Well, I actually went with a different model thing. I got it as a gift. I didn't pick it out. I got
Instapot?
it as a gift. It's not an Instapot. It's another brand or whatever, multifunction thing. And it doesn't have a yogurt button on it. So there's a way that you can make yogurt in it without the yogurt button. But that was really hard, and ours didn't exactly turn out, and so it just went down the drain.
But you know what was good? Have you tried this? Like Bruce made cheesecake in the Instapot.
Oh yeah, we made that too. Amazing. It's totally
Who
crazy.
knew?
Yeah, I know. Hey, so what's going on this week at Two Rivers? Anything else going on?
Yeah, well, tomorrow night we're getting together again for a community prayer time, our weekly prayer gathering. Thursday is Word with the Pastors. I had a friend of mine yesterday and said, hey, this might be a good time for you all, so I'm going to trash him
You
on
had a
that.
friend
He's
yesterday?
probably not watching because case in
He
point.
said to you,
He said,
"Hey, have you
texted
guys
me,
thought
said-
about-"
He said, have you thought about like using this time as an opportunity for folks to get to know the pastors better? And I was like, I'm putting my stuff out there on Tuesday morning, as best I know. I'm trying to get Dave to share more of his like guarded heart online, And then we got three
You've
guys.
been throwing Dave under the
Oh, yeah.
bus.
3 guys on Thursday putting their stuff out there. So he goes, oh, my bad. My wife just told me, like, you're already doing that. Like, so we're trying.
We're trying.
So Thursday is Word with the Pastors, where actually Todd and Dave Nichols just look foolish, and Tim walks away the hero every week. Like, I don't know when they're going to finally turn on him and go, hey, we could control this.
Hey,
but, like,
wait.
they just show up and go,
Well, when that was first an idea, we're like, okay, of the 3 of them, which one would do best, like as the host of a show?
Wow, Mr.
We're
Host himself.
Well, it's Boobar, and he's always dreamed about. And
Mr.
what we
Rogers.
didn't know at that point is that, like, I always thought like he wanted to host a show, but then I learned he really has always wanted to be a game show host.
Yeah.
And so he's taken that and converted it into a game show, and some of it is actually sometimes pretty entertaining.
well, it is really entertaining. I just wish they'd turn the tables on him, but I don't think they have the chutzpah.
Yeah.
There's the throwdown challenge.
Hey, and then as far as getting to know some people, I'm going to be doing some, and we're going to be doing some interviews with some of our global workers and kind of following up with them
cool.
and seeing what's going on in the world.
How's this affected them?
And here. And so that'll be coming out on Facebook too.
Good.
And then
Weekend services.
yeah, this weekend. We continue for a couple more weeks with our series, I Am Who I Am, as we walk through this part of John. And then it will be summer. It's going to be summer.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that.
It feels like summer has already started, but then the weather's weird, and then it just feels weird.
Yeah, it feels like it's fall already or something. I feel like Groundhog Day, to be honest with you. Every day it's Tuesday. Every day it's the same stuff.
It is weird though. I don't have any data to back this up, but it seems like every Tuesday it's rained. Since we started doing this show, it seems like every Tuesday it's rained.
So do you believe in omens?
We ain't got time
theological,
for that.
we ain't got no time for that.
We ain't got time for that.
Maybe we
don't
shouldn't be
have time
doing
for
this.
that. We don't have time for that. So with that, hey, our time's way past
Okay.
up. So Mark, have a happy Tuesday.
Have a happy Tuesday, Dave. Take care, folks.